There's this quote by Elif Batuman.
I found myself remembering the day in kindergarten when the teachers showed us Dumbo, and I realized for the first time that all the kids in the class, even the bullies, rooted for Dumbo, against Dumbo's tormentors. Invariably, they laughed and cheered, both when Dumbo succeeded and when bad things happened to his enemies. But they're you, I thought to myself. How did they not know? They didn't know. It was astounding, an astounding truth. Everyone thought they were Dumbo. Disney's adaptation of The Hunchback of Notre Dame has been analyzed to death. I secretly think this film exists so that video essayists may speculate about it. Isn't that right, Hugo?
You're telling me I'm losing to a bird!
The widespread fascination with this movie makes a ton of sense. It's ambitious in a way few mainstream projects are. It criticizes the mass weaponization of Christianity, demonstrates the real meaning of justice, and compels us to ask questions that don't necessarily have straightforward answers.
We find you totally innocent, which is the worst crime of all.
The characters are archetypal in a non-traditional sense.
Esmeralda is the knight in shining armor, Quasimodo is the damsel in distress, and Phoebus is the manic pixie dream boy who rides the best-named horse in all of fiction.
Achilles, heel!
Then there's Judge Claude Frollo, the film's co-protagonist who is one of the most realistically evil men to ever be depicted on screen, animated or otherwise.
This burning desire is turning me to sin.
His villain song Hellfire has rightfully been lauded as a masterpiece. It is the crown jewel in Disney's extensive pantheon, a desperate declaration of desire that leaves you deeply disturbed by the time the final note rings out.
Destroy Esmeralda and let her taste the fires of hell, or else let her be mine and mine alone.
Yeah. I hate this song. Let me rephrase that.
I hate how Hellfire's brilliance distracts people from the rest of the movie. This song has its own sub-fandom. Every top 10 list of villain tunes on this platform exists as an excuse for people to heap more accolades upon it. Its genius has created an echo chamber where discussions pertaining to the Hunchback of Notre Dame begin and end with praising Hellfire.
Be mine or you will burn.
The word mature appears a lot in these discussions, and not incorrectly.
Hunchback is indeed targeted towards an older audience, but citing Hellfire as evidence for this claim is essentially the critical equivalent to, he's a little confused, but he's got the spirit. Being dark and controversial is not the same thing as being adult, and despite our best efforts to convince them otherwise, some people will never see animation as anything other than cartoons intended for kids.
And since you're shaped like a croissant is...
A funny layer of irony here is that Frollo's character is the epitome of childishness.
He does not grow, he does not learn, and he behaves like a toddler whenever he doesn't get his way.
My 16-month-old nephew throws tantrums more intense than Hellfire on a daily basis.
There is a song on Hunchback's soundtrack that encapsulates maturity, one that sticks with your soul and implores you to be a better version of yourself. It espouses the film's core themes whilst packing a powerful punch to your pathos.
That song is not Hellfire. It's God Help the Outcasts.
I don't know if you can hear me, or if you're even there.
Esmeralda's ballad is one of the most profound statements Disney has ever dared to make. It understands Christianity's teachings better than any pastor I've listened to, and its pertinence only continues to grow with each passing day.
What do they have against people who are different anyway?
Oh, here it is. Everything.
The live outside the normal order. Their heathen ways inflame the people's lowest instincts, and they must be stopped.
Romani people have inhabited France since the 15th century, and have experienced racism and prejudice ever since. 2 out of every 3 French citizens hold an unfavorable view of them, and during the Nazis' occupation of France, several Roma were sent to German concentration camps. There was even a concerted campaign in 1802 to remove Roma from the French Basque provinces and deport these captives to the then colony of Louisiana.
Truly a fate worse than death.
Go to bed! You're from Shreveport! Fuck no!
This history of discrimination is what makes the coloring of Esmeralda's costumes so brilliant.
Within the Disney canon, purple and red are synonymous with villainy, hence why they're also incorporated into Judge Claude Frollo's design.
Look at that disgusting display.
Yes, sir.
When we see Esmeralda perform during the Feast of Fools, she's clothed entirely in quote-unquote evil colors because people like Frollo have unfairly villainized her and her people. The purple skirt from her main outfit also reflects this unjust perception. She was, in fact, the only member of the original Disney Princess lineup to wear this color. But her blue corset and white blouse reflect her courageous spirit and pure heart, respectively. She's the third bravest character I had the privilege of watching whilst growing up, the first of which being Mrs. Brisby, and the second being Esmeralda's pet goat, Jolly.
All right, I'm going.
Half of this movie's soundtrack is comprised of I Want songs.
Quasimodo wants to be out there, Frollo wants Quasimodo to stay in here, Quasimodo wants to experience heaven's light, Frollo wants Esmeralda to do the devil's tango with him. You get the picture. God Help the Outcasts can also be classified as an I Want song, but unlike everyone else inside the cathedral, Esmeralda's prayer is completely selfless. Persecuted by the state and prisoner by right of sanctuary, our deuteragonist doesn't ask God to help her. She can get by, after all. But the other Romani don't share this self-same luck. In a film with some truly fantastic cinematography, my favorite still shots come from this quiet, understated musical number. Notice how Esmeralda is the only churchgoer framed in the light, the only one walking against the pre-established grain. Each candle flame feels like a soul she's praying for, a fellow outcast who burns in spite of all the malefactors who seek to snuff them out.
Still I see your face and wonder, were you once an outcast too?
I hated going to church as a kid, not because I didn't believe in God, that crisis of faith came later in life, but because the other kids my age were unbearably cruel. I never saw church as a place of holiness. I just saw it as another building where I got bullied, another place where I didn't fit in. I paid close attention to the weekly sermons, but no one else in my Sunday school class ever practiced what our pastors preached. My mind couldn't comprehend the sheer hypocrisy of it all. Jesus' followers were supposed to be the loudest advocates for the people society deemed unlovable, yet my peers found every reason imaginable to ostracize and belittle me. I was too poor to attend private school, too sickly to play on anyone's dodgeball team, and too queer to befriend, despite not even knowing what that meant yet. No one else shared my understanding of God. No one except Esmeralda.
I thought we all were the children of God.
I'm still working through my complicated relationship with religion, but this song always helps me simplify things. It puts my privileges into perspective and reminds me what it means to be blessed. Esmeralda doesn't know if anyone can hear her, and yet she prays. That's the core essence of belief. This song is the embodiment of hope, and I'm so glad the filmmakers chose to include it instead of its cut alternative Someday. Sideways, my wonderful, glorious musical theater video essay king. I'm so glad you're uploading to YouTube again. But you got this one wrong, buddy.
This song is called Someday, and it was originally supposed to be the song that Esmeralda sings when she's taking sanctuary in Notre Dame. During the production of the film, some of the suits made the call to swap that number out with God Help the Outcasts, and Someday was relegated to the end credits.
You got that ass backwards, boy.
Alan Menken and Stephen Schwartz wrote God Help the Outcasts first, and Someday was the song they wrote later to appease the studio heads.
The song that Esmeralda's going to sing here is actually the first song that was written. There was a second song written called Someday, which was a bigger, more anthematic kind of a feel.
It's the song that's played over the end credits.
But ultimately we decided that this was a moment where Esmeralda is supposed to be humble.
Then CEO Jeffrey Katzenberg wanted to hear something more optimistic and inspiring in the scene since the rest of the movie is so dark and somber. But directors Kirk Wise and Gary Truesdale pushed back against this suggestion, and rightfully so, because Someday doesn't tonally fit here. It's a shallow and impersonal anthem. a nebulous sense of longing for an indeterminate point in the future that may or may not ever come.
How long is this going to take?
Someday is still a decent song, and its inclusion in the stage musical works a lot better, but God Help the Outcasts is a more personal number. It successfully humanizes Esmeralda as opposed to reducing her to a mere caricature. Or maybe I'm just too pessimistic to enjoy this song for what it is.
I'll be honest, y'all. I don't know if someday will ever come.
For all the social progress we've made in the past 250 years, it feels like we've barely made a dent in addressing this nation's injustices. Need isn't rarer. Greed still pays extremely well, and with the rise of generative AI, wisdom is becoming an endangered species. We don't all share a prayer for something better, because our world is run by Frolos who think they are Dumbo.
You make your point quite vividly, sir.
Narratively speaking, though, it does make sense for someday to still be Esmeralda's leitmotif.
It's her driving ethos, the ideology she believes with all her heart.
You mistreat this poor boy the same way you mistreat my people. You speak of justice, yet you are cruel to those most in need of your help.
Silence!
Justice!
Quasimodo internalizes this worldview throughout the film, whereas Frollo vehemently opposes it.
All my life you have told me that the world is a dark, cruel place, but now I see that the only thing dark and cruel about it is people like you.
Yes, Queen.
Not to pile on, but I think Sideways misinterpreted Heaven's Light, too.
Quasimodo doesn't sing about love with a specific person per se, but like just how seeing people in love can be really rewarding in its own light.
No, he's definitely singing about Esmeralda here.
I dare to dream that she might even care for me.
It's just a dude aura farming on top of a cathedral singing about how nice it is that his favorite ship is working out.
He is in no way, shape, or form happy about Phoebus and Esmeralda's relationship yet.
You got nothing to worry about.
Yeah, you're irresistible.
Knights in shining armor certainly aren't her type.
If you read the three Gargoyles as mere figments of Quasimodo's imagination, which I do, then Hugo, Laverne, and Victor can be seen as manifestations of his id, ego, and superego respectively. And all three of these subpersonalities think that Quasimodo is going to get the girl.
Mungia above, she's gotta love a guy like you.
12 seconds later.
Something that rationally bothers me as an adult who has to pay taxes and votes is when people complain about Quasimodo and Esmeralda not getting together in this film, because that's the whole point of all of it.
Now this, I wholeheartedly agree with.
People who think that Quasimodo deserves a girlfriend are responsible for the existence of the Hunchback of Notre Dame too. Every higher being in existence forsook us as a species when this abomination came out on DVD and VHS.
I could kiss me, but I'd fall in love.
The reason I referred to Frollo as the co-protagonist earlier is because the filmmakers explicitly want you to understand him as such.
It is a tale of a man and a monster.
The dichotomy between him and Quasimodo is the movie's central thesis statement. Everything from their drinking goblets to their transpositions of the main theme serve to demonstrate this juxtaposition.
Out there they'll revile you as a monster.
I am a monster.
Out there they will hate and scorn and jeer.
Only a monster.
The key difference between them is how they react to Esmeralda not reciprocating their feelings. Neither man actually loves her. Frollo just wants to possess her, and Quasimodo simply fell for the first person who was ever nice to him. But it's the monster who turns this rejection into a life or death ultimatum.
Choose me or the fire.
Western culture is innately selfish. We think that if we can't have something, then it's a tragedy of Shakespearean proportions. This is so not true. Maybe it's the demisexual in me, but I don't think unrequited love is all that tragic. Whenever I have a crush on someone, I don't care about those feelings being returned. I only care about whether or not that person is happy, regardless of my own involvement. To love someone is a great honor. And the experience teaches you how to see beauty and value in something other than yourself.
What makes a monster and what makes a man?
Empathy. The answer is empathy.
In a world run by Frollos who think they are Dumbo, be an Esmeralda who knows they are Esmeralda. Never stop demanding justice. Fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. Speak out when unspeakable crimes happen. Show people mercy while they're here on Earth, because it's not just God who can help the outcasts. The world is a dangerous place for a lone ant, but the strength of a united colony should never be underestimated.
This movie is just tangled for those of us with religious trauma.
Great. Now I'm the bad guy.
This is normally where I'd plug my Patreon, but in keeping with this video's theme, I've linked some of my favorite charities down in the description below. They need your generosity more than I do right now. As for everyone who is currently supporting me through that platform, thank you. Seriously. I know my uploads have become significantly less frequent. The day job has kind of taken over my life, but I will always be grateful to those of you who still cheer me on and champion my creativity. It means the world. Until next time, take care.
You'll notice that Jolly has an earring. It matches Esmeralda's earring. We thought that would kind of visually make them a team.
It would be unwise to arouse.
They can only afford one set between the two of them.